Lads, lasses, and the rest of the masses, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mono from Mono CFC, and these are 5 things Mauricio Pochettino needs to do at Chelsea Football Club. Number 1. First and foremost, the most important thing that Poch needs to do is to clear out the deadwood. Our current squad is incredibly bloated, with many of the players clearly not wanting to be at the club anymore, and others seemingly out of their depth at a club of this magnitude. These types of players have a negatively infectious attitude which is spreading to the other more committed members of the dressing room, like a rotting vegetable seeping onto the rest of the crop. The main culprits include, but are not limited to, Hakim Ziyech, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Cesar Azpilicueta, Kai Havertz, and Christian Pulisic. There are other members of the squad that I also believe need to be moved on, such as Mason Mount, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Conor Gallagher, and Kalidou Koulibaly. However, there is a case that most of the squad is up for sale after the abysmal season that we just had. There are only a handful of players that I believe are nailed on starters for next season and are under no threat of leaving in the summer transfer window. But we will touch on those players a little bit later. Number 2. Developing the youth. It is no secret that our new recruitment strategy has been to bring in young, promising players on extensive contracts, and Pochettino has shown in the past that he has an affinity for allowing up-and-comers to thrive. There is no reason why this should not continue, as we have an abundant selection of great players that can and should be developed for next season. I fully believe that there is a place in the first team for players such as Noni Madueke, Didi Fofana, Mykhailo Mudryk, Carney Chukwuemeka, Gabriel Slonina, and returning loanees Levi Colwill and Ian Matson. All of these should be allowed game time in the domestic cup competitions, and as we have no European matches next season, we have the opportunity in these less important competitions to allow these promising younger players of the squad to rotate in and fully rest the starting 11 if needs be. Although that being said, I do believe that some of these players that I've just listed actually do have a good chance of being in the starting 11 next season. Number 3. Instill a winner's mentality. One of the weakest parts of our team in its current state is its lack of leaders, lack of drive, lack of passion, and lack of a winning mindset. For most of the matches this season, we had lost before the starting whistle had even been blown due to a lack of motivation and a lack of belief that the players had in themselves. Many of the underperformers this season are high quality players that just had a defeatist attitude. As the saying goes, form is temporary but class is permanent, and I think that a few of the players in this current team, such as Cucurella, Chilwell and Reece James, would benefit from Pochettino's excellent man management. He needs to remind some of them that they do have the capacity to win football matches and bring back some of that energy we used to have but was lacking this season. We've already seen reports of Mauricio wanting to bring back certain fitness training sessions that he used with great success at Tottenham Hotspur and Southampton, namely the Gacken test, an aerobic capacity test consisting of many 45-second sprints with only 15 seconds of rest, with the distance covered increasing until the players can no longer complete it in the allotted 45 seconds. These types of grueling fitness challenges are what we need to get our lackadaisical players up to full speed for the Premier League, and will help remind them that they are professional football players that need to earn their incredibly large wages and earn the right to play for this prestigious club. Number 4. Make a team, not a group. There are far too many individuals in the group that do not play for each other and only play for themselves, players that value personal pride and achievement over the team as a whole winning. Mauricio Pochettino needs to rectify this issue, unite the players together, make them fight for one another, and make them fight for the badge. They need to be taught to value and celebrate assists, not just goals, team achievements over personal stats, and know that a group of great individuals will always lose to a good collective. Not just mentally either, Pochettino needs to find his starting 11, stick with it, and allow the players to familiarise themselves with each other's playing styles and get them on the same page, because at the moment they aren't even in the same bookstore. The constant swapping of players and overabundance of squad members being selected has just confused things this season, and we need to oil the machine, as it were. Other teams such as Man City and Arsenal have looked great this season due to them all being united and rarely swapping players unless there's an injury. But not only that, having the subsequent replacements ready to fill in and understanding what the team needs them to do at any given moment. Once Pochettino has gotten his few acquisitions in during the summer, he needs to settle on his first XI and immediately get them working together so that we can win together. That being said, Number 5, striker, goalkeeper, DM. We have needed these positions sorted out for multiple seasons and somehow have still not got a replacement for Diego Costa, Petr Cech and Nemanja Matic. It's absolutely criminal, and I hope with the new manager coming in, it can finally be addressed. I will give my list of potential players and then voice my opinion on which are feasible, which I personally want, and which I believe we are going to get. Starting off with the strikers, there aren't many options out there, but the ones that have been in the news lately linked to Chelsea are Harry Kane, Victor Osimhen, Evan Ferguson, Vitor Roque and Kolo Muani. There are also reports of Chelsea wanting to use Rafael Leao in a striker role, which I don't believe will happen, so I'm not going to cover it here. I personally feel as if Victor Osimhen and Harry Kane are going to be incredibly expensive and unattainable. Evan Ferguson and Vitor Roque aren't the world-class striker that we need, and Kolo Muani is a bit of a mixture of both of these issues in my opinion. I do believe that the main ones we should be looking at are Kane and Osimhen, and I'm more convinced by Kane returning under Poch than bringing in another expensive overseas striker that will likely flop in the Premier League. Also, Kane wears number 10, so there's no risk of the number 9 curse happening. Joking aside, let's move on to the goalkeepers, and there's not many available here either. The ones I've personally seen available are Mike Maignan, Andre Onana, Albon Lafont, David Raya, and Diogo Costa. Again, most of these are going to be utterly ridiculously expensive, and most aren't worth it. The one that I do see being worth his high price tag is Maignan. He's a world-class keeper and he'd fit in perfectly with our French-speaking backline. That being said, I don't believe it will happen, and I believe that we will end up with Andre Onana, who is a sleeper pick in my opinion for the goalkeeping spot. He's much better than people seem to be wanting to give him credit for, and is definitely an upgrade on our dwindling goalkeepers at the moment, which isn't saying much, but there we go. Moving on to the most important position for our club to get right, the DM. The ones we are currently linked with are Romeo Lavia, Miguel Ugarte, Claudio Kone, Moises Caicedo, Thuram, and last but not least, Declan Rice. All of which are promising young players that all have the potential to be great additions to Chelsea Football Club. My personal favourite out of all of these though is Miguel Ugarte, who brings an energy and stability to the midfield that we have lacked for years, and more so than the others, he would allow for Enzo Fernandez to get further up the pitch and impact play, because Ugarte likes to sit deeper if needs be, whereas I feel like a few of the others like Lavia like to be box to box. Declan Rice being the other example, which also, he loves to be box-to-box. He is not a DM, personally. I feel like he is a box-to-box mid. His main problem, though, for me, is just his price tag. 120 mil for Declan Rice is ridiculous when we could spend much less money for equal options, such as 60 million for Ugarte. That being said, I think it's more likely that we get Lavia, who is cheaper and would be a great acquisition. He seems to be going for around 40 million at the moment, considering he has just been relegated with Southampton. Personally, for me, I would like both of these two. Pochettino likes to use a 4-2-3-1 with 2 DMs, and we'd sometimes need a more stable defensive partnership in some tougher games rather than using Enzo there. I would love to see a midfield 3 of all 3 of those, Ugarte, Lavia and Enzo, but I don't think that'll work with Nkunku coming through and playing in that cam role, though that is just another question for Mauricio Pochettino to answer, and that is my list. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think about Mauricio Pochettino's appointment in the comment section below, and if you'd be so kind, subscribe to the channel and leave the video a like if you enjoyed. Don't forget to tap that notification bell so you never miss a video from me. I've been Mono from Mono CFC, and remember, in the rain or in the dry, keep that blue flag flying high. Come on you Blues.